this is the last step of our implementation. We have a lot of other steps we can add to this course, but I leave that to you to improve and refine this application. So right now, how our application looks like is like this. I refresh the page, it loads my keywords performance, and I have on the right section a placeholder for the chatbot. Okay, so let's wire up the endpoint we implemented with the chatbot. Okay, so let's stop the development environment. And as you know, in the previous section, we instructed the language model to generate the output in the markdown format. So to be able to parse and show as pretty as possible that markdown output, let's install these two markdown parser. The first one, React Markdown, is a parser, and the other one is the plugin for that. So we install that. Let's give it some time. Perfect. So now what I'm going to import is those parsers for sure, and using Vercel use chat, which is made our life way easier than using provider's native SDK. Let's see how it helps us. So let's import use chat and our parsers. And as you see, it added this part of the code to my code block. So we can remove actually the API section because we are using the default API. So if you change the API, you definitely can add that here. So wait a second. Okay, so we are using use chat, which gives us messages, are all the messages users sends and receive, user and system send and receive. Input is the user input in our text area we are going to add. Handle input change is a state handler that when input changed, it updates the state, and handle submit, it submits and sends data to the endpoint we created. So beside messages, because by default, this use chat with handle submit sends messages to the endpoint. But we want to add other stuff as well, which is our keyword performance. So let's add that. And as you see, its keyword performance is not defined. So what we have to do is passing that as props to chatbot as well. So we passed it as props here, and that took care of the not defined issue. So now let's change this section. I have some prepared code here, going to drop that, and we can explain what is happening in the code here. Formatting this, perfect. So same as before, this is our placeholder, adding border to make it kind of look nice here. Now all the messages, these are system and user messages, we are looping over them because we're creating multiple child elements. We want to add a key to them, which using message ID. And each message has a role, if it's user or AI. So in this case, or well, it's user, it can be system, developer, etc. So we say if it's user, show a user in the beginning of the message. If not, whatever else, we show AI. And now in the message, we are getting the message parts and mapping that. So in this case, we are returning text. We can use tools, agents, etc. We are not going to talk about that here. But in this case, the type is text. So what we are going to do when the model responds, we are going to use Markdown parser to parse that text and show that in the UI. So that was one piece of this implementation. The second piece is the text area, which is where user is going to write something, hit enter, not shift enter, because with shift enter, we are going to add new line. So with hit enter, we are going to execute handle submit to be able to send messages and keywords performance to the endpoint. So the class is the styling of that. The value is going to be an input user is going to add, and handle input change, as I said, is a state handler to update the state of this text area input. And this prevent default is, as I told you, because the user is going to hit enter, we want to do something executing a function. So we are adding prevent default here. So let's save this and running our development environment, refreshing my page here and see if we can see our chatbot now in this area. As you know, and as you see, the UI is not as beautiful as it could be. I leave that to you to add all the refinement and improvement to make this UI beautiful. So I tell it, analyze my keyword performance and provide actionable insights. So we are going to ask model something, and as you see, model is preparing some response for me. So it's telling me the keywords, diagnosis of all the keywords I have, how many impressions it had, clicks, what was the position, what was the diagnosis, and how I can improve that. And it goes through all the keywords I have in the list, and at the end, it actually provided a table for me as well. So these are accurate, good, actionable items that if we follow, not 100% guaranteed, but can improve our SEO performance in Google Search Console. So we can improve way more than what you are seeing here. I'm going to show you another example of how I implemented that and using that in production environment. So as you see, here is my learning management system, or actually the engine for my learning management system, that you can create different tenants, different sites, etc., adding course pages, blogs, etc. there. So one of the sites here is all of the keywords it has. We have pagination, we have sorting, we have our chatbot, it can become full screen, etc. I still need to do some work to improve the UI. And when I analyze keywords, it uses the same prompt and, well, different model here, but the logic and implementation is similar to with what we worked in this course. So as you see, I have a delete button here. And why I added that here, because as you know, and as you saw, we are sending all of the messages the model and the user generates back and forth to the API and to the LLM. Look at this long message. So each time that you interact and write something, you're sending this over as well. And that means more tokens, input tokens, and more cost for you. So to be able to reduce the cost, you can delete these messages that you don't need anymore and write new stuff depending on new keywords, new performance, etc. you have.